Hello, hello my friends, it's Lee. Hope everyone's doing well. And I wish to talk about, well, first of all I want to say, if I can get the video up quick enough, Happy Halloween for 2014, or call it Samhain or Samhain, or what you will, Hallows Eve. We're talking about a time that has to do with recognition of, well, the spirit world, which is ever around us, and we don't need a special day to be aware of it. But alas, as most things after time, traditions and things change and alter, and now it's dress up the kids and get some candy to rot your teeth and that sort of thing. But if we take it and kick it back to the old school, well, yeah, we're talking about some nice things to be aware of. Nonetheless, I wish everyone is doing good, and yeah, for those people who are followers of the world and don't have a mind for these sort of things, well, of course, best of luck to you with all that. It's an endeavor to follow. There are many factors. And as an ex-girlfriend's mother a long time ago, when I was a wee teenager, said to the effect, well, it takes all sorts to make it work. And she was certainly right. So there you go. And for those of us who are spiritually inclined, well, best of luck to you even so. And let us be very happy to be reminded, you see, because when we have an encounter with a ghost or a spirit, or when we have a memory of our past life, or when we hope for the future, we always have a personal involvement somehow. And this is just simply going to say that because we are these things and we cannot not be these things, then it's nice to have a reminder that everything is right in place. Just like when we receive a deja vu, for example, it's a reminder of, this is exactly where you're supposed to be. We do have free will, but we already freely chose our own destiny in a strange line of thinking, if you want to put it that way. That's for someone to think about or not, ponder if you will. Well, so, yes, I wanted to talk just quickly on that, on being in a time of year where, depending where you live in the world, mind you, because I'm sensitive to viewers from elsewhere, of course, a few friends in Europe and whatnot, but where I am in my little neck of the woods here in Canada, on the on the eastern side, not the coast, but the eastern side. So I'm in Quebec, just above Ontario, or on the borderline, and we receive all the four fruits of the seasons indeed, because we get the extremities of all things in this area that I'm at. So get to see the seasons hardcore. Summer is really hot and brutal. Winter is really cold and nasty. Spring is wet. Fall is chilly but beautiful, and all that stuff. Now, of course, depending where you live, the old Samhain, Hallows Eve can be a different thing, a different outward appearance. But it was originally meant to be about a perception for things outside of the self that were not as easily seen. They are still common, and they are still natural, and that's the important point for us to always remember, that they are natural occurrences. We can call them supernatural, or these things are unnatural, but these are natural occurrences. I say the only unnatural thing would be when we create an abomination by mixing some things together, and yeah, you can use your own mind to think what I'm talking about for that. But as for the spirit side, as for the other side, ghost spirits, multiple levels of entities, different levels of demons, angels, elemental spirits. These are all real enough. We can call them different names, but they can and will continue to be encountered. And again, those who know me may know me, and as those who I talk to, I know you, and when you comment, I know who you are. But when we are aware of certain things, and when we have encounters with certain things, it is for our growth, it is for a reminder of things, it is for strengthening. Sometimes we're tested for strengthening. But to always be reminded that it's available when we want it. For myself, sometimes I just don't want nothing to do with that stuff, and I just say, I gotta concentrate just on something simple, even something childlike, even something very basic. And then on the other hand, when I say, now I've leaned too far that way now, I must go back to the spirit world and enter that again and delve into it more and continue my learning and searchings, for example, then thank goodness it's there, and I can apply myself to attach back on. It's like a light switch you can put on and off eventually. we can get to that perception where we can just say, okay, now I want to be aware of it, and it'll be there. See, if we each indeed do have an angel, I believe strongly that we do, well, thank goodness they're more patient than we are. Because, yes, maybe we will not have the patience to stand by so calmly and with vigilance, right? But indeed, our position of being in these incarnate bodies can be very well appreciated, because it is a very difficult trial. It can be. It's for experience, it's for learning, it's for karma, it's for advancement, it's for all sorts of purposes. It's a school, hospital, jail, all sorts of things. And we can happily be reminded of these other things, because indeed from whence we came, from where we return, is the same thing. So, even as we leave the great isness of the God, the source, the universe, spirit, whatever we want to call it, the universal mind, we are always a part of that indefinitely and immeasurably and by default, naturally. Not an option or a side order of fries or something like that. It is a natural thing. It's just to uncover it for yourself and to do it in the way that works for you. You see, the nice thing about the pagan ways, the druidry and other such things, Samhain, Halloween, we're talking about that. So the nice thing about that is, and shamanism in general, is to talk about you, not being evil, but I mean, even if you're going to do that, you're going to find out the hard way that naturally it's the wrong path, because it will lead to self-destruction in and of itself, naturally. So, saying that, the thing about the pagan ways is having great confidence in saying each person, like the shamans of any culture, a real shaman in any culture, Western, Eastern, North, South, would say, for example, you must develop your own powers, you must find it out. Even the great Buddha would say, you must find it for yourself, doubt everything that I say. The Druids would say the same thing. You can find the ultimate reality and ultimate truths, and they will be one and the same, but you got to do it your own way, do it your own style, and find out that it is true, and do it in the way that you like it. Some people are desirous. See, some people that enter the spirituality, there's two sort of main types. The one that wants to know the honorable, holy path, the truth itself, what is it, and do it in a good way, and those who do so for power. And then you have, I guess I'll have to mention the third, those who inherit a religion that they're born into or with, or is familiar and around their surroundings and environment, or accepted in their culture or something like that. And then they take that on, and then because they have that pillar, if you want to say, then they don't think much else about that. And unfortunately, those types are quick to challenge others who don't think the way that they do. In some cases, at least in some cases. What we are learning together, though, on this planet is a great tolerance and a great, finally, slowly and surely, globalization, which would be based upon humans getting along well with each other despite different things, and as long as no one is harming another, it doesn't matter what we look like, our skin, doesn't matter what we dress like, if we're not harming each other, if we're not intending to harm each other, then what does it matter? Then we're getting along well. As long as there are those who are keeping bitterness inside and anger and resentment and enacting it out on others but not dealing with it inside, enacting it out on others but not dealing with it inside, thus quelling the fire of it. But until we do so, we take our internal problems out externally. But if each one of us can deal with our internal problems and take it into ourselves and deal with it properly, and if we need help, ask for it, but don't be brutal and harsh about it. But sometimes even that's going to happen. So anyways, that's different subtopics, but they are indeed related into this. It's just to say the awareness of what already is, what we already are, and it is always a similar thing. When you trace back, that's the great symbol of the pyramid. It gets a lot of negative feelings and attachments towards it these days, because, oh, Illuminati, did you hear about that? Well, those are fake Illuminati, okay, in many cases. A real Illuminati is a good person indeed. The point being that the pyramid shape works in the simple fact of it is a progression towards an enlightenment. That is a holy symbol, actually. It's not a bad thing whatsoever. If you want to use another example, it doesn't matter what you want to use for a symbol. It doesn't have to have any symbol at all. But a growth process leading to a similarity, not a growth process that leads us to diversity. We can always choose diversity. We can choose to be different. We can choose to do anything. But where we connect the source of all things, or if you want to put it this way, the balance of everything, that's the shape of the cross, where everything meets in the middle, the balance of everything is oneness with everything, not separation. But our point of being in the universe is not to have to only and always be that one perfection. We go out to explore many worlds, many dimensions, many densities. Here we find ourselves in a 3D planet that has been called Terra or Telos or Earth or Gaia, whatever name you like to use. And we are in it together. We're all breathing, we're all sleeping, we're all dying and being reborn. We're under a blue sky, there's sun, there's rain. Common despite what we think. So we take that on a macrocosmic level, the universe is the same thing. Even people on different planets and even all things in a bigger way, yet we are in a similar thing. There is light, there is dark, there is happiness, there is sadness. These things are universal truths. You don't have to go anywhere and be anything to realize it. You just got to think about it deeply and truly, and in the soul, recognize it, our true nature. So, that said, Samhain, Samhain, Hallows Eve, Halloween, call it what you like. It is a time of reminding ourselves that we are the other side. We don't have to be afraid of the other side. We are going to die. This guy you see here, he's just a little ego in a temporary time frame who's going to disappear one day. But the me that I am, the I, the isness, the eternal self goes to something else to be something else. Just like for you, the human you are, even if you're young, you don't want to think about death, but you will die. You just came from a place, you were born, and you will return to a place. So we can't really escape ourselves. There's no escaping reality, but it's not a bad thing. In fact, it's so beautiful that we're afraid of it. And that's the deepest truth of truths. The truth of the universe is so beautiful that we're often afraid of it. Because it is that wonderful. Because we're so hard on ourselves and beating ourselves up all the time. And doubting and not having the self-esteem and not having a culture and a system and a society that promotes growth for all things, beauty, self-expression in a good way. Dealing with negativity in a wholesome way. Let your darkness out. Don't hurt somebody else. Don't hurt somebody else. Because that's karma. That comes back. That's all the evil paths will always come back to the self and self-destruct. Utterly shatter and break the heart, break the mind, and then start from the get-go. So that's the great mystery of it right there. That's the great truth of it right there. So what I'm saying though is if people have negativity, find a way to get it out in a wholesome, good way, a good release, a good closure without it being destructive. Don't hurt yourself, don't hurt somebody else, but deal with it, nurture it, love the pain. Nurture the pain, let it go. And remember that spirits, angels, demons, all these things are true and real, but that each one has a friend and a guide always, and that they are there. It can take some time to get familiar and to be even aware that you have one, to even come to the acceptance and say, well, why shouldn't I have one? Okay, that's the first step, realizing that, well, you do, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not. You have a guide, an angel, a friend with you always. The next step is to agree with that and like the idea, and then you can go with it and actually try and contact that if you want to. So that's a whole different thing, but when you can do so, and some of us can do so and have done so, it is a very remarkable and wonderful thing. Very reassuring, comforting, sacred truths that keep us very much at peace. Alas, I'll try to keep the video a bit short, but just to say Happy Halloween to everybody, and hail to the light and to the night, not meaning darkness and evil, but I'm talking about night and day, and all the aspects that are within us, when they are balanced in a moment of understanding, then they are pure and good and clean. Even the chaos was recognized as absolutely, utterly necessary and perfect in and of itself, because it led back to the desire to become whole and perfect again. So these are things we can think about, but this is my thoughts for now. Blessed be, love and wellness be with you in health and strength. And I challenge everybody for something. If you're watching my video and you feel like it, you don't gotta do anything I say, obviously. But I challenge you, whether within the duration, the rest of this year, 2014, or for the next year, do for yourself one favor. Do something that you always wanted to do, that you never did before. Do something that you knew you were good at, or secretly you had, I have a knack for that, I like that. Something I wanted to try. A hobby maybe, whatever you can think of. Do it. Just one thing, even just for yourself privately, or even for a friend, even for a family member, whatever the case may be. Just try and do it and see how you feel. Probably you feel good to have that much more, that extra inch of freedom, that extra inch of self-discovery. Go and do it. You'll be surprised what you get. Cheers, my friends, and we'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.